Is the 55th sonnet composed by English poet William Shakespeare. This poem tells about the limitations of worldly glory and grandeur. All the great monuments, memorials and statues erected by princes, rulers and the rich to perpetuate their memory are subject to decay, destruction and deterioration. The ravages of time and the agents of destruction destroy and damage all such monuments and memorials. Only the powerful rhyme of the poet and the great poet will survive the ravages of time. Through the written words of this poem, the poet will immortalize the memory of his friend till the day of last judgment. Okay. Welcome to my YouTube channel Bachelor and Mastering. It's today, as you have already heard, we are talking about Shakespeare's sonnet number 55 entitled Not Marble, Not the Gilded Monuments. In our today's discussion, we shall be introducing the topic. There will be paraphrase, notes, summary, analysis and reader's review. I am sure you will accompany me till the end of this video. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe my channel and please don't forget to leave a like and share this video. Okay, here we go. Here is the introduction of the sonnet, and here we have a text, sonnet number 55, and the statues and how they are, and the monuments how they are built, and what is their plight in the future in comparison to the powerful pieces of poetry. As Shakespeare believes he has such power to create such powerful literary pieces, and he has such a vision that as he also mentions in sonnet number 18, so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this and this gives life to thee. So this line, this couplet, final couplet from that sonnet number 18, and this poet's sonnet number 55 here, they are similar. So till the judgment that yourself arise, you live in this and dwell in lover's eyes. So here again, in lover's eyes or other's eyes, whatever it is, so your existence will be till this world exists. No human being is on the subject of judgment on that day. Before that final day, the day of judgment, all people, all statues, all monuments, everything will decay, deteriorate, and they are subject to change and destruction, but the pieces of poetry will not die. So he has that vision, and the power of that poetry, power of these lines remain, power of a person, beauty of a person, and this glory only in the pieces of literature, not in other things. So that's the introduction. This introduction also introduces about that, and here we have, okay, here we go with the paraphrase. No marble or ornate monuments of princes will live longer than this poetry. You will shine brighter than any statue dotted over time. A useless war will ruin statues and quarrel will break apart buildings, but not even the warrior god Mars, nor the ravages of war shall destroy this written accounting of you. Against death and oblivion you will stride out, and praise will follow you to all and everyone, even to the end of time. So until you rise at the last judgment, you will live on this poetry and in the eyes of lovers. Okay, this is a paraphrase, and here are notes for you to understand, for you to derive the meaning and what these words or phrases in Shakespeare's lines mean. Okay, and these 3 slides regarding the notes of this poem, and they will really be helpful for your meaning and understanding of the text. Okay, here is the summary, and this summary: neither expensive stone statues nor gold covered monuments to the ruling class will live as long as this mighty poem. Through this sonnet you will shine more brightly than any statue ruined by messy, careless time. When wars come along and topple statues and conflicts undo the skilled work of masons, not even Mars, the god of war, himself or worse speedy fire shall destroy this living memory of you. Defeating the forces of death and indiscriminate hostility, you will march ever onwards. Praise of you will always have a place among all future generations, until the forces of history bring this world to the end of times. Until the end of time, at Judgment's day, when you will be resurrected, you live through this poem and in the eyes of the lovers who read it. Okay, this is summary of the poem. Now let's have a discussion of the text in Nepali. अंग्रेजी साहित्यका महान नाटककार तथा कवि विलियम शेक्सपियरले 154वटा 14 हरफे कविता लेखेका छन्। त्यो सबै कविताको जुन 14 हरफे कविताको एउटा ढाँचा छ, त्यो ढाँचा भनेको प्रत्येकको त्यसको चाहिँ अन्त्यानुप्रास हुने एउटा ढाँचा 14 हरफमा उनले चाहिँ जुन खालको संरचना, जुन खालको भावना व्यक्त गर्न खोजेका छन्। कविले आफ्नो 154 वटा 14 हरफे अथवा सोनेट कविताको एउटा जुन प्याटर्न छ, एउटा ढाँचा छ, त्यसले चाहिँ के गर्छ त भन्दाखेरि कवितालाई चाहिँ एउटा शक्तिशाली र चाहिँ प्रभावशाली र दीर्घजीवी अथवा अनन्तकालीन हुन सक्छ। जुन दिनसम्म यो संसार ध्वंस हुँदैन, जबसम्म मानव जाति रहन्छ, तबसम्म यी काव्यका यी तिमीले गरेका रचनाहरू जीवित हुन्छन् भन्ने कुरा विश्वास चाहिँ कविलाई नै थियो। त्यतिखेर उनले त्यतिखेरै भनेका थिए यो कविताको आयु कति छ त, साहित्यको आयु कति हुँदो रहेछ त। मान्छेको आयु त निश्चित हुन्छ, कुनै ठुला राजा महाराजाहरूको पनि आयु निश्चित हुन्छ होला। तिनीहरूले चाहिँ स्मारक बनाउलान्, त्यसपछि तिनीहरूका चाहिँ शालिग बनाउलान्। सधैँ तिनीहरूका शालिग स्मारकहरू त रहँदैन। ती अब तिनीहरूको चाहिँ अनुकूल भएको राजनीतिक वातावरण हुन्जेलसम्म अथवा तिनीहरूको अनुकूल हुने त्यस्तो खालको सामाजिक धार्मिक वातावरण रहन्जेलसम्म तिनीहरू त्यहाँ तिनीहरूको शालिग रहने हो। नत्र त ती शालिगहरू आउँछन्, तोडफोड गर्छन्, सकिन्छन्। तर काव्यमा तिम्रो चाहिँ रचना, काव्यमा तिम्रो वर्णन, काव्यमा तिम्रो विश्लेषण गरिएको छ र तिम्रो स्तुति गाइएको छ भने तिमी सदाबार सदाको लागि जीवन जिउन सक्छौ, सदाको लागि तिमी बाँच्न सक्छौ कि काव्यका हरफहरूमा तिमी बाँच्छौ। अन्यत्र म केही भन्न सक्दिनँ। काव्यका हरफ भनेको त्यति शक्तिशाली हरफ हुन् भनेर शेक्सपियरले त्यो जमानामा साहित्यको चाहिँ एउटा जुन आयाम, साहित्यको जुन एउटा दीर्घकाल एउटा जीवन र साहित्यको चाहिँ कति समयसम्म चाहिँ साहित्यले संसार एउटामा प्रभाव पार्दो रहेछ त नि भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ उनले व्यक्त गर्न खोजेका हुन्। अब यहाँ के भन्छन् भने उनी आफ्नो साथीलाई आफूले रचना गरेको काव्यमा जति शक्तिशाली र चाहिँ एउटा रूपमा चाहिँ तिमी रहन सक्छौ, त्यो त्यति शक्ति त त्यो कुनै चाहिँ एउटा ठुल्ठुला महाराजाहरू त्यही शक्तिशालीहरूले चाहिँ बनाएका ती स्वर्ण जडित स्मारकहरू, त्यो एकदम भव्यशालिगहरूमा पनि ती उनीहरूलाई जीवित तुल्याएका शासकहरू पनि बाँच्न सक्दैनन्। तिमी जुन हरफमा बाँचेका छौ ती ठुल्ठुला ती महान शासकहरू, ती चाहिँ एउटा सम्राटहरू, चक्रवर्ती सम्राटहरू पनि बाँच्न सक्दैनथे। त्यसो भएर यो अस्तव्यस्त जुन बेपरवाही समयले कुरूप तुल्याएको कुनै शालिगभन्दा तिमी अझ चम्किलो रूपमा देखिनेछौ। शालिग त अब त्यहाँ आउँछन्, अब आफ्नो विरोधी आयो भने आउँछन्, भड्काउँछन्, तर त्यहाँ वरिपरि फोहोर हुन्छ, कसले सफा गरिदिन्छ, अनि त्यो समयको अन्तरालसँगै त्यसको आयु पुरानो हुँदै जान्छ। तर काव्यमा चाहिँ आयुको सीमा हुँदैन। शालिगको निश्चित आयु हुनसक्छ, त्यो अनुकूल वातावरण हुन्जेलसम्म, त्यो त्यहाँ चाहिँ त्यो यो राख्न योग्य हुन्जेलसम्म, तर यहाँ चाहिँ काव्यका हरफहरूमा त्यो हुँदैन। त्यसपछि जब युद्धहरू लडिन्छन् र शालिगहरू ढल्छन्, द्वन्द्वले त्यो डकर्मीको शिल्प कुरूप पारे अथवा डकर्मीको शिल्पबाट त्यो रचित एउटा चाहिँ शालिग कुरूप पारे पनि युद्धको देवता यमराज स्वयं वा युद्ध बन्दुकका नालबाट बेरोकटोक निस्किएका अथवा निस्कँदा पड्किएका गोलीले तिम्रो ताजा स्मृतिलाई भुलाइदिनेछन्। मृत्युको शक्ति र मन लागि शत्रुतालाई हराउँदै तिमी सदा अगाडि बढ्नेछौ। त्यहाँ कसै तिम्रो कुनै विरोधी आएर तिमीलाई तोडफोड गर्नेवाला छैन, कुनै विरोधी आएर तिमी विरुद्ध युद्ध लड्ने पनि छैन। तिम्रो यो इतिहासको शक्तिले यो संसारको अन्तिम विनाशको दिनसम्म नल्याउन्जेलसम्म भावी पुस्ताका बीच तिम्रो प्रशंसा भइरहनेछ। समयको अन्तकाल अर्थात् न्यायको दिनसम्म जब तिमी पुनर्जीवित हुनेछौ, तिमी यसै कविता मार्फत बिउतिनेछौ र यो काव्य पढ्नेको आँखामा तिमी सदा जीवित रहनेछौ। यो काव्य जहिलेसम्म रहनेछ नि त्यहिलेसम्म तिम्रो प्रशंसा, तिम्रो स्तुति, तिम्रा यहाँ प्रेमीहरूले तिम्रो बारेमा गाउनेछन्। म्हणजे मैले कस्तो प्रेम गरेको छु त तिमीलाई, कस्तो माया गरेको छु, कस्तो स्नेह दिएको छु, त्यो तिमीले मूल्याङ्कन गर्नु पर्यो नि त। तिमीले चिन्न सकेका छैनौ। त्यसो भएर शेक्सपियरको यो जुन यो सनेट 55 शेक्सपियरकै 18औं सनेट सँग यस्तै चाहिँ भाव भएको कुरा मैले पहिले व्याख्या गरेँ। So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this and this gives life to thee। जब मान्छेले चाहिँ तिम्रो मान्छेले सास फेर्न सकुन्जेलसम्म हैन त्यो यस रहन्छ त्यस बेलासम्म अनि so long lives this and this gives life to thee, त्यो बाँचुन्जेलसम्म त्यसले तिमीलाई जीवन प्रदान गर्नेछ। तिम्रो जीवन त त्यही काव्यका हरफहरूमा जीवित रहनेछ। तिम्रो मैस, तिम्रो सुन्दरता, तिम्रो सारा वर्णन, तिम्रो स्तुति मैले कहीँ लुकाएको छैन। मैले काव्यमा छताछुल्ल पारिदिएको छु। त्यो छताछुल्ल पारेका ती चाहिँ मेरा विवरणहरू तिमीले अहिले बुझ्न नसके पनि भावी पुस्ताले राम्रोसँग बुझ्नेछन्। हे प्रिय, हे भाइ अथवा हे साथी भनेर यसरी सम्बोधन गरेर कविले यो सनेटमा अब एउटा चाहिँ कुनै व्यक्तिको आयु शालिगहरूमा होइन, मूर्तिहरूमा होइन, कहाँ काव्यका हरफहरूमा जीवित रहन्छ। हो, वास्तवमा यो कुरा यसरी नै बुझ्न सकिन्छ। महाभारतमा भयङ्कर योद्धाहरू कर्ण, अर्जुन, भीष्म पितामहको प्रतिज्ञा सारा कुराहरू चाहिँ काव्यमै चाहिँ आजसम्म आएको हुनाले नै हामीले थाहा पाछौँ। कर्णको दान, कर्णको चाहिँ साहस सबै कहाँबाट आयो? साहित्यका हरफहरूमा वेद व्यासले चाहिँ त्यसरी हरफहरूमा उनलाई रचना गरिदिएको हुनाले आजसम्म हामीले चाहिँ ती महान महान योद्धाहरू, महान शक्तिशाली चाहिँ धनुर्धरहरूको बारेमा पढ्न पाएका छौँ। यस्तै शेक्सपियरले पनि यस्तै गरे, त्यसरी पढ्न पाइयो। ओके, द्याट्स विथ द समरी अफ द टेक्स्ट इन नेपाली। नाउ लेट्स गो विथ द एनालिसिस। This Shakespearean sonnet makes a strong statement about love. The speaker states that he loves the subject so much that the love will remain immortal and last long after their deaths. He said that no other earthly objects or monuments will outlive this poem, and the subject and his or her beauty will live on forever enshrined in his words. The poet claims that his poetry will outlive the ornate marble statues and gold-plated monuments built by rich and the powerful kings or princes of the time. As a result, the name of his friend, who is referred to in his verse, would live for as much longer time than the monuments that would stand neglected and tarnished with the passage of time. The destructive words would leave no trace of the statue, and the havoc created by them would raise all the magnificent monuments to the ground. This sonnet was written by William Shakespeare, a great English dramatist and poet of Renaissance period. Sonnet 55 is about love, similar to other sonnets written by Shakespeare. It was first published in 1609. The poem speaks about the immortality of words. Nothing can outshine the power and charm of words. It also illustrates how the speaker is proud of his immortal work. The speaker adores the beauty and unrestricted nature of his work. He compares his work and with dead rich kings or emperors and argues that everything has a lifespan. But his words or his words composed in this piece of literature are immortal, that will outlive everything in the universe. He reflects on the memory of his beloved friend and says that his friends will sign in those words forever. To him, kings and princes live in illusion, believing that they could preserve themselves in the form of monuments or statues. Unfortunately, devastating wars overturned statues and conflict ruined the mansion's handiwork. Since his friend is preserved in the form of words, therefore he will not face a fall. Even after his death, his memory will never fade into the oblivion. He will continue to win praise in the face of successive generations that will enjoy this poetic piece. What, however, stays in the mind of the readers is his matchless love for his friend. Okay, here is the theme and tone of the poem. The sonnet asserts the immortality of the poet's sonnet to withstand the forces of decay over time. Love and immortality versus mortality are the notable themes in this poem. It presents the heartfelt burst of confidence as the poet possesses the power to preserve his friend's memory in his verses. He argues that everything in the world loses its charm and beauty, but nothing can destroy his friend's glory and charm. Undoubtedly, words bring destruction on the face of the earth. Even the great statues and monuments give way before their deadly battles. Therefore, he prefers preserving the memory of his friends in his words, pieces of words, powerful pieces, he calls them, more powerful than those bullets from the gunfire. In this way, his friend will remain green forever till the day of judgment. The tone is one of somber celebration, appropriate for praising someone of high status. Now here we go with reader's review. Addressed to a young friend, Sonnet 55, the speaker of the poem claims that his powerful rhyme will outlast marble and gilded monuments, keeping the youth's memory alive until the last judgment. The poem makes a defined statement about the power of poetry and love over death, while ironically deriving much of its poetic interest through images of oblivion. The poem reflects a common view during the Elizabethan age that the entire world was in a process of gradual decay and decline as humanity moved through time toward the last judgment, the Judeo-Christian idea of apocalypse and the end of time. Sonnet 55 can be condensed into the following question: whom exactly is the poet addressing? So it's you to find the answer. By focusing on the word live, Shakespeare uses the language itself to emphasize his authorial intentions. Notice the word choices of outlive 2, living 8, oblivious 9, and live 14. This sonnet of William Shakespeare portrays time as a mighty destroyer. According to the poet, all material things, worldly power, glory, and grandeur fade away with the passage of time. The princes, the rulers, and the rich try to perpetuate their memory through gold-plated monuments, memorial statues, but all their attempts are in vain. For over a period of time, such monuments and memorials lose their glory and fall to utter neglect, decay, and deterioration. The ravages of sluggish time destroy them. Sonnet 55 is one of Shakespeare's most famous works and a noticeable deviation from other sonnets in which he appears insecure about his relationship and his own self-worth. Here we find an impassioned burst of confidence as the poet claims to have the power to keep his friend's memory alive evermore. Shakespeare's paramount desire to immortalize his friend in verse and not himself is reflected in this sonnet. The Romans say Because of the poem I will never die. Shakespeare says, because of my poem you will never die. What distinguishes Shakespeare is that he values the identity of the beloved. He recognizes that the beloved has his own personal immortality, in no way dependent on poetry. However, immaterial things like great poetry or art are imperishable. They withstand the process of decay over time and outlive all such monuments erected by princes and rulers. The words of this powerful rhyme, this means this sonnet, will be living record of the memory of the poet's beloved. The poet asserts that she will be remembered longer because of the poets having written about her than if descriptions of the beauty has been commemorating through gilded monuments and statues of stone. The poem underlines the idea that art lives longer than life. Big monuments and tall statues crumble down, but the poems written in their phrase outlive them. Whereas worldly things are transitory, poetry is eternal. Okay, I think we have come to the end of this today's discussion of not marble nor the gilded monuments by William Shakespeare. This is sonnet number 55, and in my discussion I also related other sonnet, especially sonnet number 18. So I request the readers to compare the study of these two sonnets. I have also my video in this YouTube channel, Bachelor and Master English, on that particular sonnet which I discussed, which I related here in this discussion, that is sonnet number 18. And these sonnets are both important, especially when talking about love and immortality of literature, the pieces of literature. How long? What's the life of literature? What's the life of other things, other worldly things? And what's the life of this piece of literature? Literature is that has immortality, not others. So Shakespeare also tells us that he chose poetry, he chose art or literature to create his view for the future. He wanted to survive in the words in the future. He didn't want to live for a short life. He wanted to live for a long time. He wanted to make his characters live for a long time. So he composed these literary pieces. So he focused on, and how foresighted he was. So his foresightedness can be noticed in this form of poetry. And he always claims that his beauty or his friend or his lover will always live in the pieces forever. In the same, there will be no death, decay, destruction and old age. So whatever, always in youth, always smiling, always cheerful, always willing to do something. Okay, that's the end of today's discussion. Thank you very much for your time and patience.